Yes. May I have your Lordship's permission to commence the proceedings of the court?
My Lord, the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges, Vikas Singh, President, Supreme Court Advocate, Supreme Court Bar Association, Pradeep Rai and Rahul Bar Association, Mr. Manoj Mishra and other office bearers of SCORA, my seniors, my colleagues at the bar present and those who have joined virtually, and family members of my late learned colleagues. Today we have gathered to honor the memory of late Shri Rupinder Singh Suri, late Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam, late Professor Bhim Singh, and late Shri Challa Sitaramaiah, all of whom were extremely good-hearted human beings apart from being pioneers of the legal profession. Though their passing is a profound moment of grief, we gather here to fondly remember their many accomplishments. Shri Rupinder Singh Suri. Shri Suri was our former colleague, Additional Solicitor General of India, and a very dear friend. Shri Suri started his practice in 1976 after joining renowned chamber of late Shri K.S. Suri. He graduated from prestigious St. Stephen's College and had obtained his law degree from the Delhi Law Faculty. He went on to practice with another leading lawyer of the country, Dr. Y.S. Chitale. He later moved to the Supreme Court in 1981 and founded Suri and Company in 1984, which till date is a flourishing law firm. To add to the many feathers to his cap, before being Additional Solicitor General for the central government, he was the Standing Counsel for State of Punjab before this Honorable Court, member of National Legal Services Authority of India, and represented various governments, public sector undertakings, and numerous multinational companies. It's a matter of common knowledge, my lords, that my late colleague Sri Suri was extremely popular at the bar and had served as the President of Supreme Court Bar Association from 2017 to 2018 and the President, Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association earlier between 2004 to 2006. His list of accomplishments as an office bearer of different organizations and platforms is remarkably diverse. Shri Rupinder Singh Suri also had many publications to his credit, including India chapter on cross-border insolvency in the book titled as Practitioner's Guide to Cross-Border Insolvency and Remedies Under the Security Interest, which were published by Oceana Publications, New York. He made a lasting contribution to the jurisprudence of this court by his arguments in the right to privacy and Aadhaar judgments. He was an indomitable fighter for whichever side he represented. Whether it was in the Satluj Yamuna Link Canal or any everyday matter, he was also instrumental in assisting this honorable court in deciding constitutional issues of seminal importance which arose in Jarnail Singh and others versus Lakshmi Narayan Gupta and others, Naresh K. Agarwal and Company versus Canbeck Financial Services, reported in 2010 6 SCC 178, and in State of Gujarat versus Mirzapur Moti Qureshi Kasab Jamaat. These are amongst the many other cases which Sri Suri's contribution in law has been immense. Outside the law, he was a sports enthusiast and played badminton. He was a voracious reader and enjoyed reading both fiction and non-fiction. He was a great mentor to many young and aspiring lawyers. As a pilot project, he groomed the India Junior Chamber and was also a member of Junior Chamber International. His passing has indeed made the Supreme Court and the bar poorer. His wife, Gurvinder Kaur Suri, and his daughters, Miss Suruchi Suri and Miss Sumar Suri, are practicing advocates and are our colleagues. Late Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam. Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam left for his heavenly abode at the age of 89 years. Shri Rangaramanujam was a veteran at the bar and had a vast experience in criminal and constitutional law. Sri Rangaramanujam was looked upon for his vast knowledge by all members of the bar. Not many people know that Sri Rangaramanujam was also deeply interested in politics and had also contested the election of the Legislative Assembly from his hometown in the early 60s. Sri Rangaramanujam was the most sought after counsel for arguing complex criminal appeals before this Honorable Court. Out of nearly 104 reported judgments of this Honorable Court, where he appeared, almost 67 have been in criminal appeals. I also had an opportunity of appearing along with him before this Honorable Court in a matter pertaining to validity of Section 210 and 13 of the SURFACI Act. I was astounded by his rich legal experience and presence of mind. The judgment in the matter came to be reported as Keshavlal Khemchand and Sons Private Limited versus Union of India. Listening to him was an enriching experience. In one of the celebrated cases argued by Sri Rangaramanujam, reported in 2002, volume 7 SCC, page 33, the assistance rendered by him persuaded the Honorable Court to acquit the petitioners of charges under Section 302, read with Section 149 of the Indian Penal Code. The said law is still cited and holds the field being tested by various courts subsequently. Professor Bhim Singh. Professor Bhim Singh, senior advocate, left for the heavenly abode on 31st of May 22 after a prolonged illness at Jammu. He had been designated as a senior advocate by Jammu and Kashmir High Court with effect from 11th June 2011. Shri Bhim Singh is survived by his wife, Srimati Jayamala, who is present here, and son, Mr. Ankit Love, who are now settled in London. Belonging to the Dogra warrior family, Professor Bhim Singh was inherently a firebrand leader and a senior counsel. Professor Bhim Singh helped lay down a landmark precedent regarding personal liberty of an individual in the case of Shri Bhim Singh MLA versus State of Jammu and Kashmir, reported as AIR 1986 Supreme Court 494. The judgment resulted from an incident where Shri Bhim Singh himself, while he was on his way to attend the assembly proceedings to participate in some important vote in the assembly, was detained and kept at an undisclosed place without obtaining a remand from the magistrate. In the writ petition filed by him, he was awarded an amount of Rs 50,000 as compensation for wrongful imprisonment, which was held to be per se unconstitutional and illegal. My lords, it was for the first time that compensation for violation of fundamental right was awarded, even in exercise of the writ jurisdiction by this Honorable Court. Professor Bhim Singh was a person of varied interest and excelled in every field he pursued. He was immensely fond of traveling. He conducted a world tour on motorbike from 1967 to 1973. He visited as many as 130 countries and is credited to be the first person to cross Sahara Desert on motorcycle from Tantan, Morocco to Senegal through Spanish Sahara and Mauritania. He was friends with many world leaders of the time and had close association with Mr. Yasser Arafat, a prominent Palestinian leader. For many years, he remained as chairman of Indo-Palestine Friendship Society. He worked vigorously as a human rights activist and rendered his professional services to innumerable people with a motive to securing their human rights. He was nominated as the chairman of the Executive Committee of Legal Aid by Justice Bhagwati, the then Honorable Chief Justice of India. Shri Justice Bhagwati described him as crusader for truth and justice. He also remained senior executive member of the Supreme Court Bar Association in the year 2016. Professor Bhim Singh worked tirelessly for the upliftment and professional standards and for dignity and honor of the bar. His efforts for securing Bar Council for Jammu and Kashmir were materialized in the Supreme Court of India when a petition filed by him regarding establishment of a Bar Council of Jammu and Kashmir was allowed. He has authored many books of contemporary importance, and one of them is titled An Examination of Documents on which the State of Israel is Based and Peace Mission Around the World on Motorcycle. With passing away of Shri Bhim Singh, the bar has lost a tall leader a true friend, and a crusader for dignity of the bar. He exhibited knowledge of law, wisdom, and professional excellence, and worked tirelessly throughout his life in that pursuit. Shri Challa Sitaramaiah. Shri Challa Sitaramaiah was born on 25th of September 26 in Kalinada. He graduated in BCom from Annamalai University and later did his LLB from Madras University, Tamil Nadu. After briefly working as junior advocate in Madras, he moved to Hyderabad in the year 1957 and enrolled with the Bar Association post-formation of Andhra Pradesh in the year 1956. He worked under Sri Venkat Rama Satyarguru prior to moving his practice to the Supreme Court of India in 1983 as a senior advocate. He later returned to Hyderabad in 1996 and practiced till 2019. It was only the COVID-19 pandemic which forced him to refrain from going to court. He is survived by his wife, Srimati Shakuntala, daughter Jyotishmahi Ivani, son-in-law Ivani Shastri, granddaughter Anjani, and son Dr. Maruth Atmaja. As a husband and father, he gave his all to his family and was a pillar of strength and a source of great pride. Sri Challa Sitaramaiah was a gentle soul with a fierce and tough exterior, and that his aura and presence will be missed forever. Sri Challa Sitaramaiah was an erudite and meticulous advocate, passionate about law and an intellectual par excellence. Very few are possibly aware of his many other talents and achievements like that of artist and a sportsman. I'm told that his paintings and sketches were so extraordinary and beautiful that he was offered an admission into the French University for Arts, which he chose not to pursue to abide by his father's wishes. He was an avid reader with interest that varied from the teachings of Upanishads to the poetry of Milton, with a collection of books that would have put a decent library to shame. He was also a very good sportsman and cricketer at the university level. Being the captain, he was an opening batsman and an off spinner. Sri Challa Sitaramaiah was an individual who believed in giving more than in receiving. He chose to follow the philosophy from very young age. He always chose to keep his contributions and charities undisclosed. Deeply spiritual and staunch believer of God, never ever returned empty-handed from him. His doors were ever open for help in matters whether it may be legal or otherwise. Innumerable religious premises received contributions from him for renovations and repairs, as did many NGOs for their charitable work. He was a popular contributor to the UNICEF and to the Mouth of Foot painting artists. On legal front, he appeared in several important matters and was appointed as amicus curiae and appeared pro bono in the personal matters of several advocates, matters relating to TTD. He argued as amicus curiae before a 7-judge bench in case of Mikalapatti, reported in 2004 to Andhra Pradesh Law Times, in which it was held that the assignment of land was a constitution obligation and acquired that the assignee would be entitled to get full compensation. Sri Challa Sitaramaiah also authored several books, including Time and its Legal Aspects and other essays relating to religion and education. My lords, on behalf of the Learned Attorney General for India, on behalf of my colleague law officers, and on behalf of members of the bar and who are present and who are joined virtually, I pay my deep respect to the departed souls. Thank you.
Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Dhananjaya Pai Chandrachud, Honorable Judges of this court, Learned Solicitor General of India, Shri Tushar Mehta, law officers of this court, members of the family of late Shri Rupinder Singh Suri, Shri A.T. Rangaramanujam, Professor Bhim Singh, and Shri Challa Sitaramaiah, members of the Executive Committee of SCBA, Shri Manoj Mishra, President SCORA, members of the Executive Committee of SCORA, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have assembled here to honor the legacy left behind late Shri Rupinder Singh Suri, Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam, Professor Bhim Singh, and Shri Challa, Sitaramaiah. I am deeply saddened by their passing as they were part of our legal family with whom we have treasured memories over the years. Shri Rupinder Singh Suri was born to a middle-class family on the 1st of October 1951 in Ludhiana, Punjab, and had his roots in Rawalpindi. He grew up in the heartland of Punjab and cosmopolitan. He did his schooling from Anand Anglo-Vedic School, Hoshiarpur, and later came to Delhi to study economics from the prestigious college. He did his LLB from Campus Law Center, Delhi, 1970. Apart from being a meritorious student and represented his college at many competitions, joined the bar in 1976 and began practicing with his late father, Shri K.S. Suri. He became an advocate in court in 1981. After the demise of his father in 1983, Shri Suri forayed into the world of civil and criminal litigation. His firm, Suri and Company, a full-service law firm, is in its 38th year, continues to flourish even today, having practiced in the fields of banking, finance, labor, company affairs, economic offences, environmental, infrastructure advisory, intellectual property, etc., and representation before all judicial fora. As standing counsel for the state of Punjab before the Supreme Court of India from 1987 to 2003, the cause of defending the waters of Punjab was dear to his heart. In recognition of his diverse contribution and expertise, he was designated as a senior advocate by the Supreme Court of India in 2009. He was also a former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association. He also appeared before the Court of Inquiry before Justice D.P. Barpa, who was then a judge of the Delhi High Court, into 3 incidents in which Kiran Bedi, as Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of North District Delhi, had clashed with lawyers in 1988. He also appeared before the Boeing and the Mangalore air crash inquiries. Shri Suri was a trained mediator and is also considered one of the leaders in domestic and international arbitration, especially in commercial disputes. His cause of giving back to the society led almost 500 young lawyers getting training under his law firm of Suri and Company, who after training are now well established in the legal careers in India and abroad. He was fondly remembered as lucky and always there in all the good times as well as difficult times of the fellow bar members, especially the youngsters. He was always ready to help and advise, always exuding a holy personality and an aura of goodness. Mr. Suri always had a smiling face while seen around in the court corridors. In his endeavor to give back to the lawyer community, Shri Suri donated 2 libraries in the name of his late father, Shri Kartar Singh Suri, at the Tisazari Court and at the Income Tax Bar Association. While serving to reach the pinnacles of professional success, Shri Suri also found time to tend to his philanthropic interests. After contributing as a member of the Junior Chambers JCs, a leading training and civic organization for 15 years, he was elected to become a management trainer. His students and colleagues vouch for his affable yet firm teaching style and have not forgotten the support they got from him when they were young fledglings. Shri Suri would often miss his lunch work, but going for lunch to the International Center with his beloved wife, Mrs. Gurvinder Suri, was something which he would follow religiously whenever he used to get time. Shri Suri left for his heavenly abode on 31st of January 2022. He is survived by his wife, Srimati Gurvinder Kaur, daughter Suri and Simar, are carrying forward the father's legacy. Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam was born on 20th of January 1933 in the Chittoor town of Andhra Pradesh. He did his Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Law from Madras University and got enrolled as an advocate under the Andhra Pradesh Bar Council on 15th of January 1962. He practiced in Chittoor District Court till December 87. From there, he shifted his practice to the Honorable High Court of Andhra Pradesh. Shri Rangaramanujam was well versed with courtcraft and was aware of his legal prowess from the very beginning of his career. And during his legal journey, he started appearing before the Honorable Supreme Court independently from the year 1973 itself and had argued several criminal appeals and special petitions relating to important constitutional matters. He made his own place in the lawyer's circle and was counted on by his peers for his knowledge in criminal and constitutional law in Andhra Pradesh, being one of the leading lawyers of the state, and innumerable cases were reported in various law journals of the state. He, in the capacity of senior counsel, was engaged by the AP Transco in several appeals before the Appellate Tribunal for City and appeared before the High Court and Supreme Court in related matters. In this context, he was appointed as senior counsel on the panel of Power Grid and NTPC. He was also on the panel of Airport Authority, Delhi, and in above capacity also represented state governments in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Prior to 88, he had been a defense lawyer in approximately 1,200 sessions cases. During his stint in the Sessions Court at Chittoor and appearing in the Sessions Courts at neighboring states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. In 83, he appeared before Justice Venkateshwar Rao Commission, which inquired into the fire bishop of Kupun village in Chittoor district on behalf of Harijans. Further, in 83 itself, he appeared before Justice Krishna Rao, was appointed to inquire into the incident relating to assault of the professors of anthropological department of Shri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati, on behalf of teaching staff, SV University, Tirupati. During his practice at Andhra from 88 to 97, filed about 2,000 writ petitions, 300 writ appeals, 200 criminal appeals, and 1,000 criminal petitions before being designated as a senior advocate. Shri Rangaramanujam got designated as senior advocate by the High Court of Andhra Pradesh in November 97, keeping in sight his prowess with constitutional stature of being a jurist of international repute and his contribution towards human rights and space laws. From the year 2002, he started to cater to litigation in the Honorable Supreme Court and contributed towards diverse matters. A well-known international jurist, his writings were widely appreciated at different international legal forums, making the Indian legal fraternity proud globally. His interest and love for human rights was well known, which is indicated by his participation in various delegations associated with human rights. During his participation at International Bar Association convention held at West Berlin in 80 and 82, his paper on robo-judges was widely appreciated, as also his paper on legal aspects of long-distance air pollution at the Special Law Conference held in Seoul in 1986, dedicated to the Chernobyl disaster. His legal caliber and acumen are also reflected in the research papers he wrote on unconventional subjects covering diverse topics, ranging from space law, International Code of Criminal Law of Justice, human rights in the context of globalization, earning him accolades and applause from the international legal fora and a nomination as chairman of the publicity cell. His demise has been a blow for the legal fraternity, and he shall forever stay in memories for the times to come. Professor Bhim Singh was born on 17th August 1941 in Ramnagar area of erstwhile Principal State of Jammu and Kashmir during the British Raj in India. His father, Thakur Birbal Singh, served as a serviceman in the Allies of World War II and later in the Indian Army post-independence. His great-grandfather was General Zorawar Singh, who is popularly referred to by historians as the Napoleon of India for his 19th century conquest of Ladakh, Baltistan, Skardu, and the heartlands of Tibet. Professor Bhim Singh completed his matriculation in the year 1956 from Government High School, Ramnagar, and his LLB in 1965 from Aligarh Muslim University. He holds the honors of earning his Masters of Law with distinction in the year 1971 from the University of London. Notably, he was also one of the first Indians to be elected as Secretary of the University of London Union in 1971. He was appointed President of the Youth Congress of Jammu and Kashmir by the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi, and later went on to become the General Secretary of the All India Congress Committee. Professor Bhim Singh got enrolled as an advocate with the Bar Council of Delhi in 72, which was transferred to Jammu and Kashmir Bar Council later. He was designated as a senior advocate by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir on 11 June 2011. Forever committed towards the cause of social justice and ensuring access to justice for all, Professor Bhim Singh founded the State Legal Aid Committee in 1970s to provide free legal aid to poor and oppressed members of the society. As a recognition of his relentless pursuit towards civil and human rights, he was nominated as chairman of the Executive Committee of Legal Aid by Justice Bhagwati. Professor Bhim Singh was the founder of the Jammu and Kashmir National Panthers Party and held it as its chairman for a period of 30 years, its chief patron from 2012 to 21, and its president from 21 till 31st of May 22. His popularity was not only at the national level, but also on the international level. He was elected as senior executive member of the SCBA in 15 and got re-elected unopposed in the year 2016. I share the privilege of sharing the same chamber with him when I was in my earlier chamber, and we were together in that chamber for several years. He provided free legal aid to thousands of poor prisoners, farm workers, and youth all over the country. He was a man with diverse interests and had a knack for excelling in every field which he pursued. He left for his heavenly abode on 31st of May 22. His demise leaves a deep void in the legal sphere. Professor Bhim Singh is survived by his wife Srimati Jayamala, a renowned journalist and a senior advocate of Supreme Court, and son Ankit. Shri Challa Sitaramaiah Garu was born on 25th September 1929 in Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh. He was born to Shri Kameshwar Rao and Srimati Lakshmi Saramma and was second child of the family. He embarked on his legal journey as an advocate in the Madras High Court and shifted to Hyderabad in 1957. He worked with Shri Venkatrama Satya Garu before establishing his individual practice. Shri Sitaramaiah was a firm believer that legal development turns on proactive thoughts and acts. He had raised the plea of proportionality even in 60, when he barely had 2 years of standing at the bar. His theory was accepted as a matter wherein before 7 judges of the Honorable High Court of Andhra Pradesh, he had argued as an amicus that assignment of land is a constitutional obligation, and when it is acquired, the assignee is entitled to full compensation. He appeared as amicus in several matters before the Honorable High Court. His argument that reservation on the basis of religion was wrong was accepted by the 5-judge bench of the Honorable High Court in T. Muralidhar Rao vs. State of AP, decided on 21st September 2004. He appeared in several important cases in all branches of law except income tax. The Honorable Justice A.P. Sen once said that Shri Sitaramaiah advanced the main argument in the legal aspect with much learning and resource, and placed all the authorities on this abstruse branch of administrative law, namely the courts have albeit the governmental action, which involves exercise of discretionary powers, control over exercise of such governmental power by implying limits of reasonableness, relevance, and purpose. He always appeared pro bono for temples, churches, mosques, or other religious institution. He had authored the books Time and its Legal Aspects and Religion, State and Education, amongst other essays that he wrote. The loss of these 4 gentlemen is felt by the bar, and we will all remember them fondly as great legal minds of their time. While mourning the department, we find some solace in the fact that these 4 great gentlemen lived an illustrious life and achieved great heights, which will remain an inspiration for the generations to come. I, on behalf of the Supreme Court Bar Association, offer my heartfelt condolences to the members of the family of Shri Suri, Shri Rangaramanujam, Shri Bhim Singh, and Shri Challa Sitaramaiah, and also on behalf of the entire bar.
My brother and sister judges, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, law officers, Mr. Vikas Singh, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Mr. Rahul Kaushik, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, President of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, senior advocates, members of the bar, family members of late Mr. Rupinder Singh Suri, late Mr. A.T.M. Rangaramanujam, late Professor Bhim Singh, and late Mr. Challa Sitaramaiah. We assemble to pay our respects and tributes to some of the finest members of our bar, senior advocates, late Mr. Rupinder Singh Suri, late Mr. A.T.M. Rangaramanujam, late Professor Bhim Singh, and late Mr. Challa Sitaramaiah, whom we lost earlier this year. 4 seemingly unconnected lives brought together in the great tradition of the Supreme Court. Institutions are built on the footprints of human beings. This tradition of references provides us with a moment of reflection on the oneness of our existence and of our work, which binds us together. As both the Solicitor General and Mr. Vikas Singh have recounted, Mr. Rupinder Singh Suri's life is full of stories of inspiration for individuals from all walks of life. His journey from a Hindi medium school to the hallowed halls of St. Stephen's College is just one such story. It was his sheer determination that Mr. Suri never let his initial lack of proficiency in English stand in his way as he followed the advice of one of his British professors to read voraciously and rapidly improve his language skills. His capacity to be focused was visible in his work, as he was always well prepared in court. The contentious character of the cause he espoused did not queer the pitch of his advocacy. He was a gentleman to the core, both within and outside the court. Mr. Suri started his career with late Shri K.S. Suri, a leading tax lawyer, and then, under the auspices and aegis of late Dr. Yashwantrao Chitrai, senior advocate and one of the leading constitutional lawyers of his time. Rupinder and I were juniors in the same chamber. As Mr. Suri himself became a leading lawyer, he never left behind the cause of service and philanthropy. He served multiple clients pro bono when he was both a struggling lawyer as well as at the pinnacle of his career with his firm, Suri and Company. He found time for philanthropy as a young lawyer when he could not afford it. He did not shun the cause of compassion in later years when he was successful. Mr. Suri never turned away anyone in need of help. I believe it was his welcoming nature which led him to being elected and serving as the president of both the Supreme Court Bar Association and the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association. He was well ahead of his time when he established a law firm set up in 1984. His leading firm was supported by his wife, Mrs. Gurvinder Suri, who took it over as a managing partner when Mr. Suri had to step down on being elevated as senior counsel. As a standing counsel for the state of Punjab before the Supreme Court of India from 1987 to 2003, Mr. Suri represented it in all legal matters, including important constitutional matters, as well as river water disputes. However, not only did he argue constitutional law cases, Mr. Suri also made it a point to imbibe constitutional values in his practice. I've heard that in true secular spirit, in times when parochialism and regionalism dominated chambers, Mr. Suri made it a point to recruit lawyers and clerks from all communities and all regions. Mr. Suri had been serving as the Additional Solicitor General for India from 2020 onwards. In many ways, he was an exemplar for law officers, as even while doing justice to his brief for the government, he remained true to the primary duty of being an officer of the court. He remained fair and dedicated to the pursuit of justice. For instance, when he appeared before our bench in Farzana Batur's case, there were young students from Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh who had been denied admission to medical colleges. The case dealt with the admission of these students and increasing access to education. We specifically recorded our appreciation for Mr. Suri for approaching the proceedings on behalf of the Union in a spirit of dialogue, as opposed to adopting an adversarial approach. His commitment to the rule of law was a testament to his character and his commitment to serving the interests of justice. Mr. Rupinder Singh Suri is survived by his wife, Advocate Mrs. Gurvinder Suri, his daughters Surichi Suri and Simar Suli Pal, both are advocates. My colleagues and I share the grief of the bereaved family. May his soul rest in peace. Mr. Ayyagar Tirumalai Madabhushi Rangaramanujam's journey in law is an inspiration for any young advocate. Mr. Rangaramanujam started working in the trial courts after getting enrolled with the Andhra Pradesh Bar Council in the district of Chittoor. As his mettle was recognized, he rose in the ranks and became a sought-after counsel in the Andhra Pradesh High Court on both the criminal and constitutional sides. Mr. Rangaramanujam's journey could not have been easy. While he started his practice in 1962 in Chittoor, he moved to the Andhra Pradesh High Court only in 1988. Yet till 1987, even when he was practicing in Chittoor, he would traverse the distance of over 500 kilometers almost every week to simultaneously pursue a practice at the High Court. It was this indefeasible spirit which led to his success at the High Court. Quite in a similar manner, Mr. Rangaramanujam slowly but steadily built a practice at the Supreme Court, by traveling almost once every month from Hyderabad or Chittoor to Delhi, much before he was designated as senior advocate in 1997, and before he eventually moved practice to Delhi in 2002. Mr. Rangaramanujam's hard work was visible not just in the manner in which he built his practice, but also in the manner in which he expanded his expertise across subject matters. Once in Delhi, he did not just continue to work across criminal law and constitutional law, where he continued to be highly acclaimed. He also expanded his expertise to new and emerging areas, such as electricity regulatory law. He was appointed by AP Transco in a number of appeals before the Electricity Appellate Tribunal and served as senior counsel on the panel of the Power Grid Corporation of India. His expertise in commercial work was recognized by both the National Thermal Power Corporation and the Airports Authority of India, which empaneled him as senior counsel. His expertise did not end here, but throughout his career, he maintained an active interest in the field of international law and attended and presented papers on diverse topics at multiple law conferences, some of which have just been mentioned. His practice across such wide areas of law and across fora is emblematic of his sincerity to the profession and his dynamism. He practiced for over 6 decades in district courts, tribunals, in the composite High Court of Andhra Pradesh, and before the Supreme Court. He is survived by his daughter-in-law P. Rasila and grandchildren, Dr. A.T.M. Venkatraghavan and A.T.M. Navya Shri. My colleagues and I share the grief of the bereaved family. May his soul rest in eternal peace. When one speaks of Professor Bhim Singh, one cannot but help speak of his compassion. There are many stories that come to my mind, but I must narrate just one in particular. In 2016, Professor Bhim Singh appeared before me in a petition under Article 32 concerning the porters engaged by the Indian Army, particularly in the difficult terrain of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. The porters had put in many years of service in the Indian Army in arduous conditions and difficult terrain. Despite providing significant support to the Indian Army's operations, they were not treated as regular employees. They approached the Supreme Court seeking the benefit of minimum pay scales on the ground that they had devoted a great deal of time and effort to their jobs, and that they had no sense of social security if the terrain caused a casualty or injury. They could not have asked for a better person and a more dedicated lawyer to plead their case before the Supreme Court than Professor Bhim Singh. His passion for the cause and his compassion for his clients was evident in his arguments before us, which ultimately formulated guidelines for the finalization of a scheme governing the working conditions of the porters. I was one of the many judges who had the pleasure of hearing him argue a case. His sharp focus and grasp over the law will be missed. Professor Bhim Singh was deeply involved with the legal aid cell and provided his services pro bono to many marginalized segments of our society. As illustrated by the case where he represented the porters of the Indian Army, Professor Singh was a crusader for the rights of the downtrodden. For him, no cause was a lost cause. Of course, Professor Bhim Singh was known not only for being a lawyer par excellence, but also because he was a party to one of the most significant cases in the history of the Supreme Court. In Bhim Singh versus the state of Jammu and Kashmir, our court awarded Rs 50,000 by way of compensation for his illegal detention by the police in 1985. This was noteworthy because it was the first time, or almost the first time, that compensation was awarded in exercise of the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court under Article 32, and that led to the formulation of constitutional principle. His life outside the courtroom was as vibrant as his life within it. He went out of his way to promote the Dogra culture and was involved with the Dogra Ratan Awards. He founded a political party and was a member of parliament and a member of the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly at different points. He traveled extensively by motorbike and authored multiple books. He was involved with human rights movements which concern not only Indian citizens, but people across the world. He will be missed by innumerable people across the bar and the bench. May everyone find the strength and courage to carry Professor Bhim Singh's legacy forward, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. The passing away of Mr. Challa Sitaramaiah has resulted in an incomparable loss to the legal community. In a career spanning over 6 decades, Mr. Challa Sitaramaiah earned a reputation for being an authority on almost all branches of law, and those who knew him will testify that he was a living compendium on civil law. One of the most noteworthy moments of his career was in 1960, when he argued a case on the basis of the proportionality principle. While the proportionality principle is a commonly applied legal standard in the 21st century, it was practically unheard of in 1960. He raised this argument merely 2 years after he had begun practicing at the bar. The judge did not accept his argument, but this incident reveals why he was regarded as an exemplar of innovative legal thought. Due to his legal acumen, a 7-judge bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court requested him to assist as amicus curiae in a case concerning the assignment of land. His assistance as the amicus proved invaluable, and he was generally known for being meticulous with every brief he held, regardless of who the client was or how much they could pay him for his services. Mr. Sitaramaiah's expertise was not restricted to the 4 walls of the courtroom. His flair for writing was evident from the books and essays that he authored, including on the Aadhaar regime, religion, state, and education, and time and its legal aspects. His writings are not confined to the black letter of the law. They traverse into elements of the spiritual. They instead undertake an exploration of the philosophical issues that underlie even seemingly simple legal concepts. The legal community is fortunate to be able to learn from an erudite scholar such as him. Mr. Challa Sitaramaiah was an avid cricketer from a young age, in addition to being a talented artist. When he was not watching cricket or painting, one could find him reading a book from his large collection. Above all, he would be remembered for his kindness and generosity. I'm certain that his memory will continue to remain an inspiring element to all those who have been fortunate enough to know him, and to all those who will hear about his legacy. May his soul rest in eternal peace. May I request you all to stand up and observe 2 minutes silence in the memory of late Shri Rupinder Singh Suri, late Shri A.T.M. Rangaramanujam, late Professor Bhim Singh, and late Shri Challa Sitaramaiah, all senior.
May I have your lordship's permission to conclude the proceedings of the court?
The court will sit for normal work at 11:30.